It's one of my favourite videos to make every year. Yes, it's all the games that I completed within said year. Now, not only am I going to be looking at all the JRPGs I completed, but I'm going to have a look at games out with JRPGs I played, and I've also included some fantastic demos that I played onto this list. So, with this all in mind, today we're going to look at 22 games I played and completed in 2025. But before we get cracking on with the video, hello, John aka Chicken Fillets here. If you like JRPGs and all the games I completed in 2025 and a wee Scottish guy talking about, well, please consider subscribing to the channel. And obviously, I want to know some of your favourite games that you completed within 2025. So without further ado, let's get cracking on with the list, and we are starting off with the first game which I completed in 2025, and it's The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak, which I completed on the Steam Deck. So this is the first adventure within the Republic of Calvard arc, where we join a new cast of protagonists, where we play as Van Ackroyd from Ackroyd Solutions, who is brought into a mystery of finding out about the Genesis Orbs. Now, this game, in my eyes, was a good step forward for the Trails series. Now, let me kind of expand on this, because I kind of fell out with the Trails series after being pretty disappointed with Trails into Reverie. That just didn't hit all the right notes. The story beats were fantastic in that game, but what I felt was that you got taken out of the action because of the Reverie corridor, blah, 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 blah. So with that aside, I thought, no, I'm going to go back to Trails, because I loved the Trails series beforehand, and I didn't want to be let down just by one game. So Trails Through Daybreak was definitely a step in the right direction, where there's the new combat system, so it's a mix of action-based combat, which you can turn into the classic turn-based combat that you would expect with the Trails series. It also comes with a fantastic soundtrack as well, and also the animations, the graphical style has been well improved since the likes of Reverie, Cold Steel, etc. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed my time with it, and I am looking forward to playing Trails Through Daybreak 2 in 2026 when I get around to it. So the next game which I played was Jack Move, an indie JRPG, which is also a shorter JRPG if you're looking for a palate cleanser, which I was looking for at the time. This one is pixel art, it has turn-based combat, and it lasts about 10 hours. Now, we play as a character known as Noah, who's a cyber hacker who has to basically go and find out what's happened to her dad. There's a lot of substance in this game for such a short time. I really enjoyed this one. The thing that really stood out for me, and I always remember, is that I picked this up. It was on CD keys or loaded, whatever it's called nowadays, and originally it was on sale for 39 pence, and I had some loyalty points or whatever, so I got it for pretty much, I think it was 2 pence. So yeah, for 2p I had a fantastic time. It was a really, really good game, and if you've played Jack Move, the great thing here is that Jack Move's going to be making a reappearance in another game next year, which is known as Infinite Alliance, which is essentially the indie JRPG version of the Avengers. Now, this next one I'm really excited to talk about because, well, it's our first game which is not a JRPG on this list, and I just love my time with it. It was just so much fun. It's called the Plucky Squire. It's an indie game similar to, how would I describe it comparison-wise, like sort of a Zelda sort of style game where you use your words to solve puzzles, for example. So you play as a character called Jot, who is a character within a children's book. So this has got the Zelda top-down view, very colourful. It's like you're walking through a children's book, as I said, but things happen within the story, and Jot, our protagonist, is cast out of the book and into the real world, where you'll play in a 3D realm on top of a desk. Yes, a desk in a bedroom where you have to get back into the book, etc. Honestly, this is such an amazing little game. I really thought that the jumping in and out of the book, going from 3D to 2D, was just so much fun. Played this on the Steam Deck, it ran beautifully on there, had so much fun, and honestly I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, but with this being a JRPG channel, well, yeah. Right, next up, I wanted to revisit one of my earlier favourite franchises, still is one of my favourite franchises. Again, it's not a JRPG, but it is classed as an RPG as such. So it is, I'm going to bundle them together because it was a part of a pack. So it's Mass Effect 2 and 3, which I played as a part of the Legendary Edition. So, and this is the second and third game within the Mass Effect trilogy. So in the second game, we play as Commander Shepard, who is brought back to life by Cerberus, and you're going after the Collectors. Within Mass Effect 3, again we're playing as Commander Shepard, and the Reapers have invaded Earth, and the war for life itself continues on. So, you might be asking, well, what about Mass Effect 1? Yeah, I just went straight on to 2, that you can make your choices from Mass Effect 1, which affects Mass Effect 2 with like DLC. So yeah, I just went down that route because Mass Effect 2 is like one of the best sequels ever made. So anyway, Mass Effect, I absolutely loved playing this handheld. When I started this channel as well, one of my earliest videos was about games I wanted to see ported onto Nintendo Switch 2. Not Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch should I say. And you know, that was one of the games that I mentioned. And honestly, having this game handheld was just an absolute dream come true because it is just so damn good. The Mass Effect games, you know, still hold up today. I cannot wait for the sequel to Mass Effect. I think it's going to be Mass Effect 5, depending on how they go with it. Anyway, speaking about Mass Effect, we're going to talk about another Mass Effect game because after I completed those two games, I went on and played Mass Effect Andromeda once again on the Nintendo... No, what am I saying? On Steam Deck. Oh! Anyway, I played Mass Effect on the Steam Deck. So with this story, we are playing as one of the Ryder twins who is sent to the Andromeda galaxy as a part of the initiative for making new colonizations over in that system. And then there is such sci-fi doings. You know, the usual shindig when it comes to Mass Effect. Now, with this game, this is sort of the black sheep within the Mass Effect series. It went for more of an open world open zone aspect, because with the original Mass Effect games, you know, it was more of a linear experience. When you got into likes of the story beats, yes, you had a bit of exploration with those games with your hub worlds, but I mean, for this was purely like open. When you went to different planets, there were wide areas to explore, so gameplay was different. It was running on a different engine, so a lot of people had complaints about how characters were, etc. And when it did launch originally, yes, there was issues, but honestly, like, this is a game I absolutely love. If you have seen my game room in past videos, you'll notice that I have a Mass Effect Andromeda poster in my room, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was fantastic playing it on handheld. So the next title, we're back to JRPGs, huzzah! And it is Final Fantasy XIII. Yes, I played Final Fantasy XIII on the Steam Deck once again. So this is the first game out of the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, where Lightning has become a part of the l'Cie. I think that's the correct terminology. Please, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Final Fantasy XIII is one which is either like, it's like Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. And I really like Final Fantasy XIII. Yes, it's a very linear experience, but I had a really good time with this, especially playing it handheld. Again, why this is not being remastered for modern consoles, who knows, but we could possibly see that in the future, you know. I really enjoyed it. The music is fantastic. It really stands out nicely on the OLED screen on the Steam Deck that I use as well. And I really enjoyed the combat system. You know, fantastic time. Really enjoyed it. So we're going to stick with Final Fantasy onto my 8th game, which I completed of 2019. 2025, however you want to say it, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because of course Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was going to be played this year because this is chicken fillets, and I've always got to play Final Fantasy VII some way, somehow, don't I? We all know about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth by now, do we? Yeah, let's move on to the next entry. Now, we're going to be moving away, once again, from Final Fantasy, from JRPGs in general. So I'm going to put 3 games in one because this is a trilogy. These titles were played actually throughout the year, but I'm going to just lump them together. So it's Crash Bandicoot N-Sane Trilogy. So that was the first game, second game, and third game. That's what a trilogy is. Come on, let's get yourself right. But listen, Crash Bandicoot, the reason I played this is I got the N-Sane Trilogy like really cheap off of Steam, and like when I was growing up and, a couple of years back, I would always go and revisit Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 on my PSP. I'd have them uploaded, and I really was getting that urge to play them again, but I thought, you know what? I've not played the N-Sane Trilogy before, and I really enjoyed it. Does it stand up to the originals? Look, I always will prefer the original Crash Bandicoot because it's what I grew up with. But I really enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was a great little trilogy. So yeah, that is game 9, 10, and 11. So back onto JRPGs, and yes, once again, it's another Final Fantasy, but this time it's Final Fantasy IX, which I played on the Steam Deck, but this time I used the Meguri mod. So the Meguri mod, if you're not aware of what this is essentially an uploader which you can put on various sort of modifications to your game. So with this, I had upscaled the pre-rendered backgrounds, and I also gave the characters various shaders. So it was a cartoon shader, and it just really breathed new life into the game. Like, I don't know what it was. I didn't put in any more like other sort of modifications because you can get like music modifications, X, Y, and Z. But this time right, no, I just upped those graphics, and man, I really loved my time with it this year. I've played Final Fantasy IX so many times. It's in my top 5 Final Fantasy games. And with all the chatter of, said remake just round the corner, or rumoured that it's happening, and all these collaborations which seem to appear for it, this was the perfect time for me to play it this year. And honestly, the Meguri mod was fantastic. It ran super smoothly on the Steam Deck once again. So yeah, Final Fantasy IX. Now next up, we have an indie game which I came across on Twitter of all places, and it's called Wish Upon a Cat. So yeah, Wish Upon a Cat is a kind of, how would I call it, like a trailer demo, or a trailer game. Now, what I mean by this is that this studio, I think it's called Odin Cat Studios, have various JRPG releases, and this game was kind of like showcasing the worlds, and the story only lasts like 50 minutes to half an hour. Your character that you play as gets sucked into his computer, and then you go and meet this mouse who's like watching this other computer. And you're essentially having to go rescue a cat or something, or find this cat. There is kind of a message behind it all, but the little worlds that you visit is all related to the studio's previous games, which got me, it got me interested in this studio. I follow the studio now on Steam, so I will look at picking up one of their games or a couple of the game studios down the line. I really enjoyed it for such a short game. It was great fun, a nice little story to go with it as well. So that was game number 13. Game number 14 is Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Again, I should stop saying this all the time, but I played it on the Steam Deck. So yeah, this is the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series made by the original creators of that game. So we follow our protagonists in a war against an empire, and there is loads, well obviously it's in the title, there's more than 100 heroes that you're able to recruit into your party, and it has got turn-based combat where you can have multiple characters in battle, This art style as well is like sort of pixel artwork against 3D backdrop. And the music for this is, fantastic. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, this is like my third attempt of playing this game. Originally, I got it for the Switch, and I got rid of that game pretty quickly because it ran so poorly. I bought it like day one, and it was just did not run. Like it was taking about 10 seconds to get into a battle. Going through menu screens was awful, but I got it for the Steam Deck so I could play it handheld, and wow, honestly, it was great. And what was funny at the time of playing this is that my drummer from my band, the Julian Year, he was playing the game at the same time. We didn't know, we were just talking about the games we're playing at band practice. He says, I'm playing a game called Eiyuden Chronicle. I was like, so am I! So it was ace. Like, I really enjoyed this game. It was going to be one that I will replay down the line. I think it's a fantastic game. So another one was Nier Replicant, game number 15 of 2025. So this was my first time playing Nier Replicant. I mean, I've mentioned on this channel before that Nier Automata, it's one of my favourite games of all time, but I never got round to playing Nier Replicant. So this year, I made sure I did. Right, so this has got action-based combat, it's full fast-paced. So what were my actual thoughts on the game? So yeah, it's a decent game. I love the combat. Does it match Nier Automata? No. I mean, it's a good game. The story was alright. I think what kind of let it down for me is that when you completed your first run through, like I went to start up the second playthrough, and it was just like essentially the same story again. And I know that there's going to be little different story beats here and there, but there was like no change up to the actual gameplay itself. Because let's say, for example, Nier Automata, your second playthrough, you played as 9S. I was thinking that I was going to be playing as Kanye? No, not Kanye West or whatever. I cannot pronounce her name. But anyway, you know the character I mean. I'll put a picture up of that character on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it either way, you know, but I think it was hyped up quite a lot. So yeah, anyway, I'm digging myself a hole here. So let's move on to what is essentially seen as Game of the Year. Probably will win loads at the Game Awards at the time of recording. I think that's tomorrow. So it is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Created by Sandfall Interactive. It is, let's get this out the way, it's a JRPG, RPG, JRPG, an RPG made in France. Pick whatever subgenre you want. You know, let's not have that argument in the comments. But listen, this is a fantastic game. It's got turn-based combat, built on Unreal Engine 5, and, you know, it does look unreal. It's fantastic. The story is a heart-wrenching story. Every single act in this game, you know, the stakes get higher and higher. You know, it's just one emotional beat after another. Fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. And it's probably like, I had not played a lot on my PlayStation 5 this year, and especially checking my roundup or wrap-up, as they call it. This was like one of my most played games of the PlayStation of 2025. Really, really enjoyed it. I would absolutely recommend that you play this game. Now, I mentioned at the start of the video that I was going to be mentioning some demos. So, number 17 is Alabaster Dawn. So, Alabaster Dawn demo, it is the follow-up game to Crosscode. It's from Radical Fish, so it's a brand new title. And with this, we are following our protagonist, who's essentially looking to rebuild the world and save the world from these mysterious enemies which have come and essentially just decimated the land. This has got fast-paced action combat. You're able to switch up your weapons in combat. So 1 minute you could be, you know, using like a sword sort of idea. Next minute you're using a massive hammer to smack the enemies. Or you can have like sort of long-range ability weapons, so like sort of a bow and arrow. A boomerang's one of them as well. And the demo's fantastic. It gives you different areas to explore. So you get a bit of the prologue, you get a bit of chapter 1, and then you get a boss battle section, and then you get a puzzle section as well. I am completely sold on Alabaster Dawn. To be fair, I was sold on it the minute I saw the original trailer. And yeah, fantastic. I had to include this one on here because it's just incredible. So we're going to go into another demo, but it's not a JRPG. And it's actually a fan game. So this is Sonic Galactic, and it is the second demo. So this is essentially a fan-made game which is trying to emulate what Sonic could have been if it was released on the Sega Saturn, which is like 64 bits. Honestly, this is absolutely incredible. And it's like one step away in my eyes of looking like a full release. And I remember seeing the trailer, and one of the comments on the trailer said, you know, this is Sonic Mania 2. And honestly, it absolutely is. The way that the characters have been created, everything has been crafted with love and attention. If they are definite Sonic fans. And the demo itself is pretty chunky. You get like 3 or 4 levels. They've each got like multiple acts within the level, boss battles, there's bonus stages, and not even that as well. You know, you get to play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Fang, and they've got their own character. I think it's a mole. I think it's like called Dig the Mole or something. But, you know, there's loads. And even then, there's cutscenes in between. So they've got an animated cutscenes within the game engine. It's fantastic. And this was one that I will definitely keep an eye on the full release for it. So next up, we have Dreamed Away. Now, Dreamed Away is an indie RPG. And I like to kind of compare it to like sort of a Undertale sort of style game with a Earthbound charm around it. This one I did a full review for, so you can check that on the channel. It was very surprising to me. I didn't expect the story to be like a psychological horror game. The combat in it is, you know, inspired or influenced, should I say, by Undertale as well. So your character Theo is at the bottom of this like square, and you basically move them back and forth, left to right, dodging the enemy attacks which appear in this square. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's multiple endings, so you'll be able to get a lot of bang for your buck, as they would say. Now, of course, with this introduction, I must say this properly. Say it loud, say it proud, Scottish JRPG. Yes, Cairn Mathair's Curse was released in 2025, and I made sure to get that game completed. So with this, we are following our protagonist, Alex, who has had their world turned upside down when their mother is kidnapped, and lots of strange goings-on starts happening round the land of Albanese. Now, like I said, this is a Scottish JRPG. It's literally classed as a Scottish JRPG by the developer. It is Earthbound inspired as well, and has got loads of flavours of Scottish culture baked into the game as well. So, for example, you have enemies, the haggis that roam the hills are your enemy. Then you have likes of your items like tunnocks, tea cakes, iron brews, chippers, chicken fillets. Yep, that is an item that you're able to buy. And did I mention I'm in the game as well? Yeah, honestly, like Cairn Mathair's Curse is absolutely fantastic. If you've not played it, this is one you definitely need to play. And it's number 20 on the 2025 list. So we have 2 more games left on this list. And the next one is Kingdoms of the Dump from Roach Games. So this is a pixel art indie retro inspired JRPG where we are following a bin known as Dustin Binsley, a knight in the realm of Garbagia. I think that's how you pronounce it. But essentially, the toxic waste has reappeared, and it's up to Dustin and his companions to save the world. Now, this one is absolutely fantastic. I did a full review on the channel, so make sure to check that one out. But this is honestly like one of the best games I played in 2025. The turn-based combat is fantastic. You have a 3x3 grid where you're able to move your characters. So if you move your characters closer to the enemy, attacks do more damage, but you'll take more damage. The further away you go, you'll take less damage, but do less damage as well. You're able to move out of the way of attacks, etc. The characters are well written with this. The comedy is fantastic. And the detail, is brilliant. There's been a lot of fine-tuning with this game as well. I found like some of even the character portraits where you're speaking to, various members of this garbage, this dump land. So for example, you go to a city which is run by insects, and you go to a hotel which is run by a fruit fly. And when you see the character portrait, it's literally just the top of their head because they're that small. And just little touches like that make a huge difference. And then game number 22, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything more about Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, with that all said and done, those were the 22 games I played and completed in 2025. Let me know what games you have completed in 2025 in the comments down below. Now, if you like what you're hearing and seeing on this channel, please help me grow it by liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillets, you know what to do. Hit that notification bell. This has been John, aka Chicken Fillets, and until next time, tate bye.